Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. We're going to be hearing today from the third place bronze winner of our Inspiring Solutions programme this year. That's the Konza Innovation Ecosystem Initiative, which comes to us from our colleagues at Konza Technopolis in Kenya. Before I hand over to today's speaker who will tell us all about their initiative, just a few words about the other webinars we've had. We've already heard from the gold winner, who was Index 2020 from Linköping Science Park in Sweden, and from Scale Up Champions from Poznan Science and Technology Park in Poland. And both of those webinars are on the IASP YouTube channel, and they're also in our members area in the section for videos and webinars. So if you're interested in catching up on those, watching again and watching for the first time, if you didn't join us live, then you can find them there. And of course, today's webinar will also be joining those recordings in that best practice library that we've got in our members area. And I'm also pleased to tell you that this year's edition of the Inspiring Solutions Awards is now open. So anyone out there watching us today who has a bright idea for good management of science parks and areas of innovation, please share that best practice with us for your chance to win. Last year we had entries from around the world, and our expert committee will reduce those down to 10 finalists, and then all ISP members get the chance to vote on the best practice that they find the most valuable, the most inspiring. So please do share your examples. We look forward to receiving your entries. And of course, the winner of Inspiring Solutions is always revealed at our World Conference, which 2020 will once again finally be an in-person event that we're really looking forward to. Our winners from this year had a virtual ceremony, which we tried to make as nice as possible. It's not quite the same. So in 2022, we're really looking forward to being able to announce our new Inspiring Solution winners in person. So please join us there from the 27th to the 30th of September in Seville, and we'll be hosted by QUADRUPLE Science and Technology Park. And now I'm delighted to introduce today's speaker, Josephine. I apologize in advance because I know I'm not going to pronounce your name quite right. Josephine Nambuki, I hope that's a close approximation. If you're ready to turn on your camera and mic. Josephine is the Chief Manager at the Policy Research and Strategy in Konza Technopolis in Kenya. And she'll be talking to us about the Konza Ecosystem Initiative, sort of virtual version of the science park, I think I'm right in saying. I'll just wait a moment for Josephine, if you can turn on your mic and camera. There we go, and I will stop sharing my screen. That's great. And welcome, thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much for this invitation.
And I'm just going to take off my camera and microphone, and I'll hand over to you to give your presentation. Thank you.
Fantastic. So allow me to thank you, Harriet, for this invitation, and greetings from Konza Technopolis, Africa's Silicon Savannah. My name is Josephine Ndambuki, and I will be taking you through a presentation sharing on the project that we run, or the program in the knowledge economy and innovation focus areas that is of Konza Technopolis. So to start us off, I'll give us a brief introduction about who we are, where we are, and then we'll dig deep into Konza Innovation Ecosystem Program, and following that we'll have a discussion, question and answer, engagement, partnership, collaboration opportunities as we may progress. So about Konza Technopolis, we are located in Kenya, Africa, about 70 kilometers away from Nairobi. We are a government project established under the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs. And the program was actually established as part of the Vision 2030 initiatives, with an aim to propel our country into the knowledge economy and to increase the contribution of ICT and IT-enabled services to the overall economy of the country. So we have about 5,000 acres. That is the first image you can see, a triangular shaped size of an area where we are building the city from a greenfield to a smart city. You can see the middle ground is the phase 1, which is what we are now finalizing in terms of infrastructure development. And this gives us a chance to then open up the rest of the 5,000 acres of the land. And as we build the ground up in terms of the physical infrastructure, we're also building the knowledge economy, which we like to call the software, the heartbeat of the city that will activate the potential of the investment that the government has put in place. At the end of it all, we anticipate to have a residency of about 240,000 per day, with about 180 residing within the city and contributing 2% of GDP minimum, and of course, with an ambition to become Africa's smartest city. As we developed, we observed the need to look at what is happening around us. And earlier this year, the government came together and established what we call the buffer zone, which is about 10-kilometer radius around our smart city. Essentially, this has increased our city's footprint to about 73,000 acres, and we are working with the 3 counties neighboring ourselves, so that is Konza Technopolis, to control or to design and master plan the buffer zone around us to ensure that our smart city seamlessly integrates to the rest of the country as it is growing. So what have we done, and who are we really? We are developing Africa's smartest city, and our mission really is to develop a sustainable smart city, a vibrant innovation ecosystem that will contribute to the knowledge economy, or the Kenya's knowledge-based economy. Our vision is to develop a leading global technopolis and innovation hub, and to do this, we have 3 focus areas, that is ICT and IT-enabled services, life sciences, and engineering. And our drivers are really research and development, education, and commercial development. In our strategic focus areas, we have identified 7 priorities, which are 3 pillars, 3 enablers, and 1 foundation. The first pillar is business development. We want to attract
Hello. Hey, I can hear you now.
Yes, I'm sorry, looks like I got disconnected, but I'll continue presenting. Yes. So in terms of our pillars, we have 3, and the second one is where we will zoom in a lot today, which is the knowledge economy and innovation pillar, where we aim to connect, convene, connect, and catalyze. And now we are saying also to celebrate a conducive environment for technology startups and SMEs to thrive and scale in partnership with other actors in the innovation ecosystem. So partnership is a big deal in terms of how we engage in our innovation ecosystem programs, as well as how we support SMEs. The other pillars is smart city services, physical infrastructure development in a sustainable manner, of course, smart governance, institutional transformation and growth. And the foundation which we really want to celebrate is our organization culture, powered by what we call NICE. The NICE values, which is nurturing innovation, collaboration, and excellence. So we hope that when you visit us, hopefully soon, you will find a lot of nice people working at Konza. So today we want to really just dig deep in terms of how are we developing. For those who have not interacted with us, we have 3 ways in which the city is developing. And the first one is that we are developing Konza projects. These are projects under the Ministry of ICT in Kenya. We also have government investments in different other government agencies. And of course, our main business, attracting investors who will truly enable the true potential of our smart city, Konza. So we have developed our what we call phase 1, the first 400 acres. And in terms of horizontal infrastructure, we also have our office at Konza. We are working and doing conductive business and facilitating investors at Konza, as well apart from some apartments and infrastructure projects are ongoing. We have what we call government invested projects, and this include projects such as projects such as university, we have our anchor university, we have our vaccine facility coming up, the best in East and Central Africa substation, a digital media city. This is around infrastructure, and it will come in as we progress on our innovation ecosystem program. Of course, science parks as well, as railway line that is looking at transport in and out of the city, road, rail, and air, and of course other international standard certifications to complement or really to live up to the true smart city of the Technopolis. We are facilitating different investors, and we have different projects coming up. Some of them already under development: an oncology hospital, solar farm for sustainable energy generation, of course generation of development of residency for people who will live at Konza. We also have office block, schools, light industry, etc. Such projects that are developing. But today we are here to share the knowledge economy initiatives and what we call the Konza Innovation Ecosystem Program. We were honored to be third place in the recently concluded Inspiring Solutions by IASP, and therefore it's really our pleasure to be able to share this program with you. Now, what is it? What is our approach? And in our approach, we say we really aspire and live by the quadruple helix approach to innovation, where we are looking at the actors of innovation being the government, playing a key role in policy, financing, innovation support program and advisory services. We are also looking at the second one being industry, very, very strong industry linkages with our high-tech companies and startups and enterprises in the country, because they have needs where the innovations can solve. We are also looking at working with academia, universities, technical colleges, as well as schools, to really create the culture of innovation, conduct R&D, and support the innovators in their development. And lastly, we also are working very closely with our civil society and development organizations, and we have established very good collaborations with the major development organizations in Kenya, such as UNDP, UK Kenya Tech Hub, US High Commission, and we work together in running our innovation program. The other thing I would like us to mention here is that the government supports, where we have the championing of our program really by the Ministry of ICT, and supported by the Cabinet Secretary of the ICT Ministry, our permanent secretary. And this is really the government support allows us to have that voice, to be able to engage the entire country and to get support even internationally in running this innovation program. What is our foundation? The foundation, again, is drawn from the different catalytic areas of focus to develop strong innovation focused program. And there is one, the smart infrastructure. So I have talked about us building a city from greenfield all the way to a smart city standard, complete with a university, actually Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, a postgraduate research university focused on science, technology, and innovation, is currently under development at Konza Technopolis. And of course, it will include R&D centers and different other facilities that can provide for testing and research, with an aim to collaboration and the output being new ideas for development and actually a roadmap towards commercialization of the same. We are also very keen on policy, because we believe that a vibrant and a supportive policy environment will enable the development of the startup ecosystem. Some of you may know that Kenya has really done a lot when it comes to innovation as an innovative country, as a country that is very tech advanced, and therefore we are working very closely with our ministry and other state actors and within the ecosystem to put in place relevant policies as a foundation for enabling the innovation ecosystem to be robust and to be able to support the innovators. One of them is a startup bill, ICT bill. We also have the cybersecurity bill that has been some of the recent bills or policies that have been put in place. We also believe that a strong innovation ecosystem is important, and therefore we see ourselves as a platform that connects the rest of the country. So we have established very good partnerships with other hubs in the country, we have about 80 private-led innovation hubs and also about 200 within government by the Ministry of ICT. And so we are establishing linkages with the leadership of the Association of Hubs in these spaces, and that really just allows us to tap into the innovation ecosystem to the farthest part of the country without necessarily having those innovators coming to Konza. And of course, programs, vibrancy of programs where we run one program every year, a flagship, and we have other support programs working in collaboration with our partners drawn from industry, academia, and the development organization within the ecosystem. We also recognize that it is important to invest and support our innovators. And this is where we are talking about structures to support them financially, incubation programs, investment programs, and linking with other VC interested investors to invest in our startups. And not only just in financial means, but also in technical capacity, where we're working with professionals to come and bring in their professional services to the startups to link them up and meet them where they really need the support. So how does that look like? Our formula, which I will say is our formula, is that we are creating a vibrant innovation community, which is both physical and digital. We're saying that you don't have to be at Konza Technopolis to experience Konza. And we ran the first successful virtual hackathon in the country, and we are continuing to innovate and work in partnership to develop such programs. And then we couple this with innovation support. What do these innovators get when they come to Konza? Of course, in the first bucket, we sieve from the very many applications to few that are identified as high potential, and therefore then they enter our incubation acceleration programs. And in these programs, we are having marketing exposure both locally and internationally. We're also looking to support them in licensing and patents. We're also looking at platforms for technology. Again, we have developed the National Data Center, which is a resource that allows us to allow for cloud services and cloud solutions for these entrepreneurs. And then, of course, we are linking them to mentorship and access to business opportunities. We realize that it is very important for this startup to get their first business deal. And by connecting and giving them that exposure and providing them an opportunity to get a business deal, then we set them up for success. So those are some of the things that we are doing. And lastly, establishing linkages in government, and for these innovators to be able to access resources within the government, such as research labs, test centers, certification environments, because we can open those doors for them, we have such programs. And of course, the third one is the Innovators Fund. This is a fund that we are looking to establish. It is growing in terms of seed funding, loans to support scale up of viable innovators. And we believe that it is important to really just have that support at seed level before they can qualify for, round 1, 2, which are very big. It's important to invest in this, and we're establishing this kit. Now, our output is that we are now realizing that out of this investment, which takes at least 1 or 2 years, it's actually about minimum 1 year of a journey, we are starting to see startup brands, and these are some of the ones that I can mention that are growing from the innovation programs that we are running. And therefore, we also see this as future investors in the Konza Technopolis and as future tenants within this 5,000 acre smart city that we are developing. So to summarize it, I would say that we have the annual program, a major program. This program takes the form. Sometimes it's internally led. For example, in 2020, we had a program addressing COVID-19 challenge. We called it the Great COVID-19 Innovation Challenge. In 2021, we done one around smart city solutions, and we keep working with the industry to establish areas of need so that then the innovations are very relevant to the situations of the day. We also have programmatic support. This is ongoing innovation programs where we are linking up with our partners to provide support to the innovators. And the cycle goes as it is. There's a call for innovators, of course, training, hackathon, physical and virtual, shortlisting, acceleration program, exits, and where we have exits and M&D or monitoring, and we onboard them to what we are calling Innovators Club. Now, the Innovators Club is very important because then it allows us to provide them a chance to share their experience, to work with other innovators, and to create a community that supports each other and learns and celebrates from the successes of other innovators. So the program, as I would say, the first part is a hackathon, which I believe many of our spaces are running. But out of that, we have a second part, which is where now the rubber meets the road, where we start really focusing on how do we create emerging tech startups. And in this, we have this program where we're looking at supporting the commercialization of these innovators, from idea, prototyping, all the way to the basic, connecting them to their first deal where we can, and sometimes even pivoting the whole business solution to enable them really just meet the gap in the industry. We're also supporting growth of local industry through this. We're also linking them with international cross players. For example, in 2020, we ran what we call Kenya-Israeli Innovation Challenge, where we had innovators in Kenya connecting with the innovators in Israel, and therefore providing a spot for cross-pollination and learning and growth. We're also exposing our innovators and their innovations to market mentors and promoters, both locally and internationally. So we are able to access opportunities such as this, and I believe in the pitch we had some showcases of some of our innovators, and this goes a long way to build credibility that is needed for them to be able to secure the next opportunity. We are creating a vibrant environment that supports learning, collaboration, and industry sharing amongst these innovators. And this is done through our on-site and online platforms of acceleration. So during the 3 months of focused acceleration, they get to learn from each other, they get to collaborate, they get to form new partnerships and support each other in the growth. And institutionalization is very important. We've realized that some come as ideas with no formal registration, no IPs, and during that phase, we are also taking the chance to provide that support for these businesses. And in that regard, overall, we are supporting the innovation ecosystem to develop and grow in the country and in the region. So what would you see if you are a participant in our acceleration program? There will be group and peer learning between the innovators. There will be both on-premise and off-site visits. Therefore, we want to get to their markets. If they're providing solutions, we work with our mentors, our coaches, and our trainers to really visit and in fact find work with them, understand what are their customers saying, and do tests, real tests of products to real customers. And therefore, out of that, help them to actually hone and grow their business. Of course, the virtual training sessions where they are linked to professionals in the industry, marketing professionals, legal experts, to be able to support them on these topical issues that are very critical in the establishment of real businesses. Because at the end of the day, we recognize that we are establishing real businesses that must be founded on the real foundations of business. And lastly, we also celebrate and talk about successes and failures. So we invite our other successful innovators within the ecosystem to really just share their story of their journeys with our upcoming innovators. And this happens in the Innovators Club, where we have these successful innovators talking about how they managed to get to where they are. And even some who failed, because for every success, there have been some moments that have not been very successful. So these have become very, very important in capacity building, in giving hope, in also just allowing our innovators to grow. Now, the cycle, as I said, takes about 3 months, but the journey takes at least 1 to 2 years in terms of a cohort for the major programs we are running. You find that, of course, the first phase is selection, due diligence, contracting for the program. We have month 1 where we take through different topics: entrepreneurship, legal, incorporation, innovation, mentorship, product creation, customer and business modeling. We have the second team where we talk about the team dynamics, product pricing, and these topics change as the programs are changing. And then the third business month where we look at the business risks, valuation, fundraising, deal structuring, investors, A to Z, etc. Pitching, presentation, mentorship, ongoing. And lastly, we have a demo day. This demo day is very important for us because it provides us an opportunity to invite potential investors to this to the demo day to come and see at the end of the program what is it that we have to show. And a typical demo day will take place around month 9 going to 12 of the innovation program. And here we have seen some joining boards of our startups, others really just committing to follow through and invest, and therefore also really becoming a very important part of the growth of the innovators. So what is our picture of success in this program? We're saying that we want to measure our success by the number of startups that join us and complete. So it takes a journey between that funnel from 1,000 applicants all the way to maybe top 15 who we work with over a period of that one year or so. Looking at the competitiveness, are they really solving real problems, and how competitive are these innovators in the market in terms of their solutions and addressing the need of the needs in the sector. Completion rate, it takes commitment to run through this program, and therefore we're looking at how can we ensure that the participants joining us get to complete the programs that they've joined. We're also looking at the growth. How far do we start and how do we grow in terms of customer growth, customer retention, jobs created, and just that we have existing startups at the 2 years. We all know that many established businesses don't get to the 2-year mark, and therefore we are very keen on looking at how many are still existing within even after the program into the 2-year mark. And of course, organizational development, where we're looking at the structures, the founders, incorporations, IP registrations, and how this really now transition to from startup to small scale businesses that are growing within the technology ecosystem. And so, as I said, we have programs that we are running, a programmatic program, again, really just helping us catalyze or engage within the innovation ecosystem. So we have the Konza forums, which bring together industry players to share their knowledge, to spur the innovation ecosystem, and to influence policy around the areas of science, technology, and innovation. And in the wake of COVID, we have learned to be hybrid, physical, virtual, really just organizing sector-based conversations to spur the topics of the day, out of which we get ideas where some innovators have picked and rallied for solutions. We are very keen on skill and capacity development, and therefore we are taking a very deliberate action within the STEM in schools programs. We've been running STEM boot camps for students in high schools, in primary schools, and the whole idea is that we prepare the next generation for the technologies that we are implementing. And therefore, this forms a very important part, and we execute this in partnership with our schools and, of course, our county leadership in the country. We also expose our innovators internationally. I said we have about different Africa summits where we can work with our innovators, we bring them to the table, and we believe that by doing this, we are giving them a chance to go global, to take their solutions beyond our borders, and to start showcasing even at those international platforms. As I said, we have sector-based forums for women in tech, for real estate, architects, different sector-based programs, again, for discussing the role of technology in economic development and in those sectors. And out of it, we definitely inspiring new ideas and new generation of innovations. We are very proactive about women in technology because we realize that the digital divide, there's also the gender divide in it. And it is in our role that we really are proactive about it. And so we have a flagship program, again, supported by the Ministry of ICT, talking about and taking women through different sector-based programs around technology. The idea is also just to bring them up to speed and to position them for the digital economy. And of course, I talked about hackathons. We've been having various hackathons, virtual, on-site, off-site, supporting the ecosystem in terms of the startups or the innovator hubs within the country. When they have their hackathons, we are there. And out of those hackathons, we get some of the innovators that translate into our acceleration programs. So this is a picture of some of the programs in action. You can see we have a lot of support from our government, senators, our Minister of ICT is on my top right. And this is some of the engagements that we have been having. Of course, our CEO is in the middle picture, the far right, and currently is the IASP chair for the Africa region. And with that, I want to say thank you very much. And I would want to open this meeting for a discussion, question and answer, and collaboration as may happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Josephine. That was such a lot of information about you're doing so much at Konza that I think it's clearly a really impressive and ambitious, excuse me, ambitious project. The thing that most caught my attention was when you mentioned you don't have to be at Konza to experience Konza. So you've got a whole sort of virtual platform to sort of spread the program. Can you tell us a bit more about how you operate virtually?
Okay, so I will tell you for sure, our virtual programs resulted out of the disruption. I mean, the entire world was disrupted when COVID happened, and we thought, then how do we continue existing, providing services to our people, and really just taking Konza. We realized that Konza is bigger than a space. I mean, we are developing this platform, but it has two components to it. It has the physical infrastructure, the 5,000 acres. But then through technology, you can go global, based out of Konza for the world. And therefore we said, okay, let us leverage basic technologies such as webinars. You know, we had a webinar, we had the Teams platform, and we said, okay, we want to run an innovation challenge. And out of this, we don't want to limit it to people at Konza because we are social distancing anyway. So let people connect through a virtual platform. That is a website, express interest. We worked with our partners, UNDP, very critical. We had UK Kenya Tech Hub, and we also brought in the industry players, Cisco, Microsoft, Huawei. We also brought in the academia, the universities, to really just work with us as mentors, as partners, as promoters of the program. And of course, all this championed by our cabinet secretary, the minister for ICT. So what happened is we called people, please, what you need is your basic home internet. And we are also privileged that in Kenya, our mobile internet is very good. Therefore, many parts of the country can connect to 3G. And I would say we are more mobile internet connected than on the physical, maybe Wi-Fi or fiber to the home. So we leveraged that mobile internet to provide this portal where innovators could express interest to participate. And then we invited them to Teams meeting. We said we're running this innovator program, and out of it, luckily, we even got our facilitators from internationally. So we had three hackathon leads. One was from Kenya, one was in South Africa from the Cisco office, and the other one was in Germany. So you can imagine, yes, you can imagine that the hackathon leads were from three very geographically diverse situation. And so how we did, again, as I said, we work with the innovator hubs. So we have an association of hubs, which has about 40 or so innovator hubs spread across the country. We said, okay, we want to work with you, and everything was purely virtual. These teams came together, they were the evangelists on the ground. We were able to cover the entire country, 47 counties. We got applications from 300 teams, which is about 900 participants. And what we did is, because of our partnerships, Cisco, we were able to provide them training. Every applicant got a chance for training in cybersecurity, in cloud computing technology. And then we still had to recruit mentors virtually. So we again looked at the best in the industry, in tech. We got, the best software developers, and they were all volunteering in the spirit of COVID. They joined the platform. We recruited about 100 professional mentors, and out of those, then they also helped us in shortlisting these innovators. Of course, we had a criteria. We were able to arrive to about 40 teams out of the 300. This 40 is what we now took through 1 week of a hackathon, all virtual, with a training section first for them to understand the platform, and then a 3-day of hackathon, and of course, pitch and presentation. From there, we had 15 teams, And these 15 teams, of course, we had the winner, and then but we decided to work with all these 15 teams in the innovation and acceleration program. So we learned that for sure during that period, we decided also to have sensitization programs, because we picked 3 focus areas: health, dignified work, and food security. Again, those were the major 3 areas affected by COVID in our country. People needed to continue working. Most people lost their jobs, and therefore we wanted innovations around how do we secure dignified jobs in the country. The second one was health systems. Of course, again, systems disrupted. How do we get solutions that can change the way we provide health services and health solutions? How do we mitigate COVID from spreading, and innovations around that? And then the third one was from so health system, food systems, and dignified work. Food system, we had a dual pandemic. So we had a pandemic of health and a pandemic of drought. So again, there was a pressure in terms of food supplies, of course, global disruptions in food chain supplies, and therefore we needed to understand how do people get food to their homes. Innovations around getting food from the shop to my house in this wake of separation. And good to it, we were able to really get some good innovations. There's one startup right now that has worked with created 100 jobs. And this is just into their 2-year mark, and they are turning around good numbers, I would say. And I mean, they are sustainable. We have a drone innovator that is also growing. We have a urban farming innovator that also came from that. So we have very good innovators that have emerged from such programs. And most importantly, we also helped the country in terms of digitization. Webinars became more mainstream now. Many people accepted, even in the government, where people have more very secure systems, and you could see more acceptance. Many more are participating in such platforms, and we continue to grow our engagement. From those lessons, now we are conducting trainings with the diversified participation across the entire country, and that really just gives us the true picture of living the fact that leveraging technology, you take Konza to the rest of the country.
That's it's a really interesting way to look at it, that through the challenges of the pandemic, you were able to go completely nationwide and international as well.
Yeah.
How about, and we've just got a couple of minutes left, can you tell me just a little bit more about how you reach different sections of the population? You mentioned you had initiatives with women. Did you direct anything at young people or students or schools, or did they naturally come to you and want to participate?
Yes, I think we have to be deliberate when it comes to reaching out to the different demographics, and also ensuring that the digital divide does not continue to widen, because for sure there are those who do not have access to this infrastructure, that is internet. In as far as our internet, mobile technology is fast spread, there's cost to it. So in terms of how we were able to meet this, is we leveraged both digital platforms and mainstream platforms. We had radio interviews, and these radio interviews were in their basic local languages. So we have 42 dialects in the country. So at some point we had some very local radio stations broadcasting the opportunity and sharing how someone can participate. We of course had different different participants in our webinars. There are those we mixed. We had the senior citizens, experienced professionals, the youth, so that then they don't feel that is for those people. They can actually identify with the audience that is there. The other thing we did is we worked with our partners to be able to subsidize for broadband. So we had a partner that really just paid for broadband service for the participants in the hackathon program, and that went a long way in removing the barrier of having to pay for internet to be able to connect. So as long as you had an access to a computer, and which you could go to your nearest hub in wherever county you are, you were able to connect and be part of the program. So there's a need for looking at what can hinder participation and planning around it. But I would say also the partnerships are very, very important, because I would believe that is what helped us get to all the communication was sponsored by UNDP. We also had a sponsor in terms of the internet to be able to connect to the remote and for those who couldn't afford. So those subsidies provide incentives for more participation across different geographies.
Wow, this is yeah. I keep repeating myself that it's a very impressive program that you've clearly got as well as national scale. You've gone very local, and you've thought about the different age groups that you want to reach and different strategies for all of them. And I was also interested in what you touched upon. We don't even have time to explore it fully now, but the smart city, the sustainable aspects to everything that you're doing, which ties in. I hope someone from Konza will submit a paper proposal for our World Conference, because it sounds like the work that you're doing is very closely tied to what we'll be talking about in Seville. So we would love to hear about some of your initiatives if you want to take a look at our call for contributions, and indeed any of our audience today. But yeah, it sounds like there's a lot that you could tell us about these sustainable initiatives and how you're leveraging digital to make your practices greener and more sustainable. And also this idea that the pandemic was one huge challenge, but climate is another one. If you were experiencing drought, other countries and other regions have their local climate challenges that may be different, but they're all from the same cause. So clearly everything comes together, and you sound like you've already got a really strong platform in place to help you deal with it. I'm not seeing any questions from our audience at the moment, but I know that people will rewatch our webinar when they see it in the members area. So I think we'll wrap up for today. But if anyone does have any questions, please feel free to write to us at IASP that we can pass on to Josephine, and we can connect anyone who would like to know more to get you in contact. And just thank you so much for being with us, Josephine, and sharing all this, and at such short notice that I don't know if nobody noticed, but that a different colleague was supposed to speak, and Josephine bravely stepped in at the very last minute, so thank you so much. If I hadn't known that you were the last minute speaker, I'd have thought you'd been preparing for weeks, so thank you.
Thank you very much. I think for us, we are pleased to be here. We are honored to be recognized, and we definitely really work very well with partners. And we believe that there is a lot of opportunity with the IASP family. We were happy to look at how we can collaborate as we grow the innovation ecosystem. As I said, it's from Konza to Kenya to the world. So we are open for collaboration, for partnerships. And as you said, we took up the challenge on the sharing on our smart city solutions, and we'll definitely work around it and prepare for the same.
Fantastic. We would love to hear more. Well, thank you so much then. And we will, this is our last webinar of 2021. So we will see everybody again in the new year with more webinars. But for now, thank you very much and goodbye.